There we go.
Welcome to a special COVID edition of Latter-day Saints, where we're taking home-centered church to the extreme. Instead of just asking you guys how this quarantine situation has been treating you, I just want to show you some pictures and you guys can explain them.
Yeah. Some nice social distancing lunch meetups.
Well, while we're on social distancing and desperate meetups in parking lots, how has the quarantined and home-centered church been going for you guys?
Are any of you dressing up, eyes and everything?
One time.
Amanda tried that. Eventually I settled and agreed just to put some clothes on.
Probably for the best.
Naked sacrament.
This worldwide shutdown is affecting all members, but it's affecting missionaries maybe the most. So I wanted to show you a tweet that our local stake president sent out. I received this earlier today from a SAD mission president, sending lots of missionaries home. Things like this are happening all over the world. So based on this tweet, I was expecting a photo of maybe a mission president hugging a crying missionary, but then the picture that was attached to it was this. Now, I don't think they're sad about going home.
Where's the social distancing?
I ran into 3 missionaries from coming home from Chile the other day at the airport, and they were telling me how they weren't sure exactly what was going to happen, but they were eager to come back. So I think that missionaries are just optimistic people in general.
Some of them look a bit suspicious.
If you look back at President Nelson's conference remarks last conference, he described this conference in a few very descriptive words. He said it'd be very unique, it would be very memorable, and it would be unforgettable, and to prepare yourself for it. Did President Nelson see this thing coming?
I think, to be fair, if he really saw this pandemic coming, rather than just teasing us with, oh, you're not going, it's going to be unlike any other, he might have given us a heads up about the virus, buy some face masks.
Well, he did say to eat your vitamins. That's a health thing.
I don't think that they were predicting this particular event, but they are probably the most prepared set of people to handle it from the church leadership perspective. They're taking it seriously, canceling church and temples worldwide, not just like in hotspot areas, just hands down everywhere. Just be safe.
And President Nelson did live through the 1957 flu epidemic that shut down General Conference.
I mean, I really feel like all the signs are there. For one, our current prophet's a doctor. 2, he prepped us for home-centered church going back a year. 3, they knocked church down from 3 hours to 2 hours, knowing that no one could do home-centered church for 3 hours. And 4, I feel like, conference will be memorable and unforgettable, but unique. That's a weird way to describe a conference, and this is extremely unique.
Because I think that's interesting. I've multiple sources are saying that there's going to be multiple locations that conference is broadcast from, which is what I thought from the beginning. I thought they're going to be in Palmyra, but I haven't heard anything about that.
Or multiple locations, like different apostles in different cities or whatever.
Yeah, it can make sense. I mean, we definitely got the technology to do it.
Yeah, but looking at Gary's face, I'm not sure we do have the technology to do it.
Well, they have the technology to do it. Maybe not us.
I'm literally looking at my desktop with one tiny 1-inch square window in the top corner of Ben's face, and that's all I can see.
So we've got Corona, we've got earthquakes happening in Utah, and in Utah's less educated brother, Idaho. So are these signs of the times?
I think it's signs that you live on the fault line.
Yeah, there's been Idaho, Texas, Ben said something about North Carolina, Utah, obviously, all this year.
There's been dozens lately, right?
A lot of earthquakes, a lot of stuff going around all over.
There's plagues of locusts in Africa and the Middle East, destroying millions of acres of crops.
Don't they always have plagues of locusts in Africa? Isn't that like a normal thing?
It is normal, but it's especially bad. This is, I think, the worst one that they've had in recorded history. All the conditions were perfect for it. I guess they're breeding and all this stuff from what I was reading. So it's really, really bad. It's worse than normal.
Gary, you're not feeling any second coming buzz?
No, I mean, firstly, was it really an earthquake in Utah? Because they are freaking paranoid out there. I don't know, an earthquake in Utah and a few locusts in Africa doesn't constitute a second coming to me.
It's intriguing, though, because those are all part of the signs, which have been going on for years. Tsunamis and stuff, that's nothing new either.
You don't feel like Corona is a punishment?
Oh, I think it's punishment. Punishment for eating bats.
Yeah.
Leave the bats alone.
Seriously.
That's what that is.
The world is, this is a good opportunity for the world to come together and to really, to kind of recenter ourselves and our relationship with God.
Yeah, once it passes, we'll have like that 9/11 effect. Like, hey, we all went through something together.
People are focusing on their family more. I see families walking outside all the time, which I've never really seen. So hopefully, Chad, like you said, there'll be an afterglow where people are thankful for the ability just to go to church and have sacrament and not like, groaning when they wake up on Sunday morning.
And happy just to see another human. We can use that again.
Well, I know for sure with my my family, my sibling, we've had so many video talks, like more than I've talked to them more in the last few weeks than I've talked with them in the last few years.
All right, well, are there any other General Conference 2020 predictions?
Well, the ones I heard of were the Missouri Temple and the Jerusalem Temple. That's it.
I did like this person's comment that was sent from one of the message boards that, to be honest, I just want some comforting words from our prophet. I think, at least for me, that's true. I'm not so much interested in big changes. Just want to make sure everything is good. We're all okay. That's kind of what I want to hear.
Yeah.
There's a couple topics that will feel like they're less impactful now, like going to the temple is not on the table, and like even just going to church. And I hope all the talks kind of steer from let's cover all the generic bases to something more applicable to what we're all going through right now.
And speaking of what we're going through right now, we have heard reports of missionary work actually flourishing in places like Italy and the UK, where the missionaries are doing all online stuff. And I think that's really a nice little byproduct of this whole coronavirus thing.
Getting it all done online and not really having a church to take people to, that would just be weird. But yeah. I mean, right. Good for them. I mean, this is definitely the kind of situation that's going to turn a lot of people to think about their lives and to think about what comes after and to turn them to God. And so it's a perfect opportunity. And I'm really glad that they've been able to utilize the technology to keep the message out, because that's the only way you can at this time is through the internet and through technology that we got.
Well, you know what? I want to back up Keith's Missouri Temple prediction. I feel like it makes all the sense in the world, not just because these are all signs of the second coming and it's got to get done before then, but because the church is flush with cash and land is super cheap right now and the stock market's tanking. Let's just get it out of the bank and put it into land. So let's just build a temple.
Yeah, why not? Last one, sealed portion of the plates will be opened.
We do have time to read now.
Just got all the end of time stuff, huh?
Yeah, man. That's what's trending.
Best. Oh, yeah.
What about the Angel Moroni losing his
trumpet?
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, because his trumpet represents him proclaiming gospel, So maybe he's like, we're done proclaiming the gospel. World's going to burn. I don't need this trumpet anymore.
What is it? The first shall be last and last shall be first. So eventually missionary work to the Gentiles is going to end and return to missionary work towards the Jews.
Well, okay, no, I honestly didn't have any thoughts, but what I thought would have been really interesting and would have got all the Mormons like really confused is if so one day he's there with his trumpet and then earthquake, drops his trumpet and everyone's like, oh, what does it mean? The next day he's standing there with tambourine.
Well, I'll say that I think we take conference for granted sometimes. It is like 10 hours over a week, and even like a Lord of the Rings trilogy is hard to make it through. Looking back at the mission when you're a missionary, it was like the only entertainment you got, so you would just like soak it up. And I feel like I'm back to that mode right now. Like I feel like we really need it.
It's a good time to get it too, because I mean, especially in the States here, these next 2 weeks are going to be the worst 2 weeks. And having conference coming up to kind of just help us right as we start into those weeks I think it's gonna really help lift our spirits.
Here's a prediction. It'll be the most streamed conference in the world.
There we go.
Zoom, if you're listening to this, your product sucks.